Welcome to FFC Top 3, a show where we, your FFC hosts, count things down from 3 to number 1. Thank you for joining us this week. As always, if you have a suggestion, drop us a note somewhere, Twitter, Gmail, Discord, wherever you can get a hold of us, drop us a note of suggestions that you want to hear us talk about. This week, we're going to discuss our top 3. Now, I called this initially New Year's resolutions, but apparently that's not the most apt for Blue because he doesn't like doing New Year's resolutions. So we're going
to. I did put some down. So, but it will be like it won't be like historically. It won't be like, oh well, in 2015 I decided to do this. No, it'll be like for this year. I'm arbitrarily going to try to do X.
And that's kind of what I'm doing with mine a little bit too. Like, there's one that is like a continual one, but the rest of them are kind of more, this is what I want to see myself be by the end of the year type thing. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about this week. And I made Blue go first last week, so Beard, you're up.
Oh boy.
Hey, Beard, we need to know what your top 3 OKRs for 2019 are so that we can have a review at 2020 and see how you did.
Oh man.
My top 3 what?
OKRs, objectives and key results. That's how I view things.
Oh.
Make a list, check it twice.
Hey, if you want to do KPIs instead, that's okay too. We can do that.
No.
Everybody loves KPIs.
Oh, why do you gotta? Why? All right. So before I let Blue have full reign of this tonight, apparently, Black Flag, shut up. Just shut up. And which channel you're focusing on for this year, Beard Grizzly? You could just shut up right now, Black Flag. You know what? Quite frankly, you can go to hell, sir. Go to hell.
That's fine.
That's all right, Black Flag. You don't have to go to hell. Not today, anyway. So my number 3 thing that I'm going to try to focus on, which I know some will probably say, why don't you put this more to the top? But focus a little bit more on myself again, because I, once again, did a terrible job of that in 2018. Just to know that if there is something that is going on, I need to set aside the time to actually get it figured out. Otherwise, the other stuff that I'm trying to get done isn't going to get accomplished, because I'm going to be way too focused on that other thing that needs to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I figured out from this year, especially after I had gotten some other stuff kind of set down in my personal life and whatnot, all of a sudden I had like a bunch of free time to actually sit and do some stuff, and I got everything done towards the end of the year. So it all kind of worked itself out, which was good. Means that I can hopefully start things out well for 2019 here as we get into possibly next week. Assuming my back wants to cooperate, because I'm really getting sick of this.
Taking care of yourself involves taking care of your back, too.
Yeah, I know. Which I've been going back and forth on the freaking heating pad and like icy hot or equivalency.
You need to go to a massage therapist. I happen to know a lady for that.
That's fine. When I can afford one, I'll let you know.
Come to Colorado. We talk.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
If he goes to Colorado, it's not going to be for a massage therapist.
No, it'll be for the beer.
Yes.
Okay, well, or that too. Okay.
We have that too.
Either that or for all the other stuff that'll get rid of my glaucoma. Right? Anyway.
It's medical.
I like how you make more jokes about it than I do, and I live in the state.
Well, that's why. I mean,
Mr. Popo, what are you doing? Growing.
Good Lord. Blue, what's your number 3?
It's pretty similar to Beard's, but it's more specifically to physical activity. I just need to get more active. Like, I used to be super active, and to be honest, like after a pretty heavy stint of doing like MMA and other like kind of mixed martial arts and, kickboxing and stuff like that. After doing that for several years, it kind of burned me out. So it's been a really long time since I've had any interest in it, but it's just a number of different reasons. I just want to try to start getting back. I used to be able to run we used to have to run like 15, 20 miles a day, pretty much like every other day for MMA stuff. And so like, I don't want to get back. Like I have no desire to get back to that level by any means. Cause
that's intense.
It's intense. And it's also extremely time consuming. Right. as most anybody who has ever trained for a marathon or anything like that probably is more than intimately familiar with. It's a very intense and time consuming thing. So I mean, I have no desire to get back to that level, but at the same time, I do need to start kind of looking out for the physical fitness and stuff like that. Plus it helps that our office that I work at has started doing more and more incentives with health insurance purposes. So nice. they're implementing like stuff like if you do a certain threshold of events or something of that nature, we actually get a lower
insurance rate.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like I can save money and it's the right and good thing to do for yourself. So
right, totally. That's kind of. I mean, my
number in chat. Yeah. To be fair, I have never done a marathon. I have no interest in ever doing a marathon. We had to run for MMA just for like physical fitness and stuff like that. And it was the standard. Our teacher was in the car behind us, being like, "You're going too slow, honk honk." So
yeah, that would get really annoying to me. I have a friend who is an ultra marathoner who's actually running 100 kilometers this weekend. So I'm like, you're dumb. She's traveling to Texas from Colorado to run 100 kilometers. That's just like,
wait, she's going to Texas?
Yeah, because
that's good. Where in Texas?
She told me it's
like in the south, like southern area, or
no,
is it gonna? Okay,
I think it was a little bit further north, but she's trained to do that.
Humidity would kill you going from Colorado.
Right. Ugh. But she's used to doing higher elevation, and most of the races up here are in the mountains. So she's going to have the lower elevation advantage, but she's doing that. And that is her like qualifying race to do the 100-miler that she wants to do in August. I'm like, you are crazy. She has 48 hours to do the 100-miler. She has 17 hours to qualify for it for the 100K, which is about 66 miles. Anyway, my number 3 is very similar again, like to you two. It's just like physical health. I've been looking at buying a treadmill for a while, and I didn't get like your normal runner treadmill, like with the incline and everything. I actually got a desk treadmill, one that it'll slide underneath my desk a tiny bit, and I can actually work on stuff while I am on the treadmill just walking. Because at work, I don't get to walk a whole lot. So that's my goal, is just to be able to move a little bit while playing the game and doing FFC stuff there. And of course, like always, doing more stretches, doing more stuff in gym, that kind of stuff. It's kind of like the obligatory, you have to do this for New Year's type thing, I guess.
Well, yeah, and I know for mine, I don't know if you're doing this, but I haven't set like I'm gonna work out until blank. Like I don't operate on that type of thing or that level really. It's just more of like, I just know that I need to do something because right now I'm not doing anything. So anything is an improvement.
Yeah, totally. Beard, number 2.
Number 2 is save more trees because I destroy them by riding in them all the time. Okay, that's not true.
How many notebooks are you up to?
Well, I did just get done sending out that tweet. I'm up to 7 at this moment. Basically through the 7th one, however. So I'll be moving on to number 8 here shortly. I was also gifted a lot of them for Christmas. Same with pens. So not pens in chat, but pens. So I won't have to worry about any of that for a little while either, which would be great. Yeah, but my number 2 is to work on getting out of my job. Actually,
oh yeah,
I have wanted to do that for a little while now, and just to finally hang that side of everything up, because I'm realizing how much more time and energy I'm putting into that still, because I've been in sales for way too long, and I still do care about the numbers and everything that kind of get wrapped in behind it all. But when all is said and done, I really still just don't have a passion for it. I have more passion for training people that are within the position and getting them set for like other challenges in life that are coming up. Because if sales is good for anything, it's a very good teacher for like actual real life stuff of what's going to hit you later on throughout everything. But that's about where it kind of stops. Sales as a whole doesn't really give you a lot of additional openings to at least move up anymore, especially not with the way the market's been moving recently. Anyway, the major thing though for me is just to try to push out from that and just get away from it. The more that I can kind of focus on the channel, which will lead into number 1, kind of the better for me, I think, this year. Because ultimately, I would love to be able to be just a full-time creator. I think overall, I have more interest in doing so. I just wish that time was a little bit more on my side. And if there was a way I could basically drop out the job, that would give me at least 20 to 30 hours, if not more, because of travel time and meetings and so on. That I then also will have to myself, that I can devote more to the channel, which really opens up more to like the full 40 hours that I'm realistically still putting into that part-time job.
right.
So that's where I think that'll really still help out quite a bit. And just with, of course, other side family stuff, etc. So yeah, I'm hoping that that'll be the thing I can kind of push for. But yeah, number 2 is definitely to finally kind of just drop the job and keep in touch with everybody I care about at least. But just finally set it down and move away from sales if I can.
That's always good, like a professional goal type thing. Moving in a direction you want to go in that.
Right.
Not feel like you're being stagnant. Blue, you're number 2.
Actually, it's similar. Well, not similar, but it's kind of aligned to the latter part of what Beard was just saying. I want to kind of get a little bit more invested with not just the Focus Fire creation, but also with like the lore network and some of the stuff that we're doing over there. Just trying to dedicate a little bit more time of my time to being present there, because with my job, which I love my job to a degree, it's still a job, and I mean, it is what it is, but it has been amping up as far as like time requirements while I'm like on the clock, so I don't have as much free time during the day as I used to kind of be involved with the chat and everything. So I'm going to try to figure out a way. I want to try to figure out a way to either get more involved or, just help get the community in a better and more strong place than it already is. I mean, our community is already an awesome one for us. And I think that it's something that's really worth, sharing with other people and helping kind of get it out there more, not just for me, but also for, anyone else who's out there who is interested in not just Destiny, but like in any game or any story exploration, or analysis or anything like that, that is looking for a place that's easy to talk to. I think that's one of the really strong parts of our community. And I kind of want to help. I want to help make that more visible in a way.
Just to jump on the tail end of that, if you're thinking about doing any kind of collaboration or anything at all with anybody, if you have any ideas for that person, like if they're already pretty well taken up on a lot of time and everything, come to that person with a lot of ideas, or at least a set idea of what you are looking to do. So that way it makes the planning process that much easier. Because Lord knows for a lot of creators that are out there, we're not just doing that. We're doing a lot more besides. So anything to make it easier on everybody will definitely help. If it takes you 3 months to plan something and you kind of go at it 5 minutes at a time, just be patient. It'll get done. There's interest in doing so, but unfortunately, with the way that timing kind of goes, yeah, if you're looking for collabs, it gets a little rough.
Right. And I mean, and that kind of goes in line with what you were saying, too, about, I think a lot of people, I'm going to try to be tactful here. A lot of people have the misconception that content creators are just creating content, 100% of their time. And that's just not the case a large majority of time. And so exactly right. There is a point at which it comes down to, time management and, how much can we chip away at a particular project? Geez, I can't even fathom how many projects we probably have slowly in the works throughout different times. And it's just chipping away at various things and trying to just having the patience to see something that is worthwhile come to fruition is also almost as big of an indicator as finding that next big thing. Is, sometimes it's not an overnight, well, nothing really is an overnight success. It's all about having the patience to stick with it and the, channeling that passion into that. And I think that's something that not just, us three are really good at, but I think that there are a lot of people who are in our Discord server or in your Discord server, Beard, that we talk to on a regular basis that have that same degree. And just, I think that those are really good resources for people out there. And I think that connecting those resources is kind of a really cool thing that just, it just needs help promotion. Like, promoting other people has always been a big thing for me. That's also kind of my job, is I play the intermediary between a lot of different departments to help ultimately get everyone on the same page and to make everything a success. And so kind of transferring that into the more creative content stuff, I think, is just kind of one of those things that just is going to naturally was going to happen anyways.
Totally. Yep. We are all on the same wavelength, it seems, because my next one's also kind of a work/community-driven one.
There's a lot of people I'm finding that are just wanting to get more involved with the community. I've been finding that as a very common one, which is
right.
Great.
And I think, just sorry, really a quick to interject on this one. I think
sorry,
Green. I think that it's a common thing because right now I think we're seeing the maturation of this community. And I think that's just naturally where a lot of these, because the Destiny, and it's not, it's, to be fair, it's not just the Destiny community, but we're definitely more tuned into that particular piece. But the creators that are within the Destiny community have always had that altruism, that degree that has always been a very strong component within the major creators and the minor creators. Just the community in general has always had that. And so as this community matures and as this community does kind of solidify and, expands the new, having the PC crowd join the console crowd with this latest iteration of Destiny, as that grows and matures, I think that it's also going to see a lot of those leaders who have already had those things. They're going to have more time. They're going to, they're kind of what you were talking about, Beard, is looking to make that part-time piece a little bit more of a full-time piece. And a part of that is going to be when you have more time to do something that you have passion for, that, you are really enjoying. It's even better when that thing that you have passion for is, helping build up the community, right? And so that's where I think I know Mav is launching season 2 of her podcast, and she's already got, like, I think she was saying she's already got all of the episodes scheduled, and it's all people that she wants to talk, like she it's all her all friends from previous that she's also mentioned, and you know, she just wants to focus on. You have Broman, who launched the his podcast, I think, what was it, last year. You know, I mean, we're seeing a lot of these community creators, these leaders starting to diversify, which is awesome, which is just good business first off, and it's just also a good sign for the community, because a lot of those diversifications are in part growing. I mean, like Kitty Plays, she's always been a huge thing, but she's been even more so since her success there. You have, you know, who's the lady that you and Jim are good friends with?
Ashney.
Ashney, yes. She's another one that I know has like a huge success on just helping people. And I think that's awesome. I love seeing that. So, but sorry, I didn't mean to steal that from you, Green.
No worries. I was just going to say, essentially, one of my goals is to work on creating more stuff for the community to be able to utilize. Like, I did the Triumph tracker that I tweet out every once in a while that people can use. I want to do some more like projects that I can work on while I'm at work, or work on while I'm waiting in a loading screen, because that's honestly how I did this. That other people can use too, because the more we can help each other out, the better the community is as a whole. Just kind of reiterating what you guys were saying. So,
well, and like they're talking about in chat right now, the audio grimoire pieces that we had done. I know that's been really. We've had a lot of people who have been appreciative of that too, which was a really cool thing.
And I like doing those things, and like having Infested Potato and Wicked actually both help out with those too. It's been not only like relaxing, but it's allowing me to be creative again. Because when I was in high school, small story. When I was in high school, I was in forensics, which no, I was not investigating crime scenes, but I was doing drama essentially, and I was primarily doing poetic readings and speeches, because I could write impromptu speeches fairly well. So me being allowed to do these recordings of these incredibly written books and give myself the ability to pull out some of those old skills with voice acting and reading and characterization, it's a ton of fun. It's very much so brings out a lot of my training from college and high school and that. So I enjoy it. Totally enjoy it. Anyway, we're up to number ones now. Beard, what's your number one?
My number one is a little bit more on the predictable side, but it still goes along with what I was just talking about. Like I said, my ultimate goal is to see the channel hit 50,000 subscribers.
That would be awesome.
We are currently at a little over 26, and I am going for 50 as a overall goal, as still focusing pretty heavily on Destiny content, but with the possibility of still expanding a little bit if need be. That being said, the reason that I've needed to kind of like stay with Destiny as much as I have, one, it's a game I really enjoy. Two, it's because I don't have a lot of extra time to delve into other titles. I've dabbled where I can, where I have to take like a week off or something in order to play a game and then sit and talk about it. After I still produce a script or grab gameplay and so on from it. But those get to be very tough to do. And unfortunately, I pretty well am just, like I said, staying with Destiny because I kind of have to. But if I can somehow get to 50,000, again, I will feel a lot better about like the growth of the channel, because that's what ultimately that'll mean. That I feel I'll be able to set everything else aside on and just focus on the channel more to allow for growth to continue to happen. Like, it'll probably be like several months where things will be a little rougher than they probably need to be, but it'll be worth it in the long haul because I'll be able to focus a little bit harder on the growth for the channel and see that 50K to at least kind of have that catapulting point. Like 25K was my goal this year, and I did get it. But if I can get up to 50 this year, that'd be
totally. That'd be amazing. Blue, what's your number one?
I am going to try to start writing 15 to 20 minutes a day.
That's a good one.
I used to do a lot of writing for various stuff, like either poetry or like just creative, like short stories or stuff like that. And it's just something that like I keep intending to do it, and I just never get around to it. So I'm not gonna say like I'm gonna be doing this like particular thing, but I want to try to get into the habit again of doing that. And I think, you know, it shouldn't be like it's definitely not going to be like a walk in the park, but it shouldn't be too difficult to get at least like 15. So I'm trying to just set it to be a low, like obviously more would be awesome if I can actually get it. But I know,
right, but set yourself a benchmark that is not overbearing.
It's not overbearing. You're and I, you know, my wife is in the process of kind of putting together a book. She's co-authoring a book with a friend of ours. And so she's also going to try to, you know, she's like, well, if you come right, you know, upstairs, you know, with me, then that would help me so we're both going to try to kind of do that more. We'll see how it goes.
Cool.
But that's more also just to kind of help get my brain, you know, thinking about things in a different light.
I mean, as far as setting goals, making those small, achievable ones, even if it sounds like terribly small and like you're not going to be making any progress with it, you're likely going to stay there longer than what your goal is.
Yeah, and
that's not the point, is to have like an immensely large goal. It's to be consistent.
Right. And to kind of give reason for the threshold that I set was like 15, 20 minutes. A lot of authors and thinkers, like philosophers and stuff like that, that is kind of what they've always recommended for people whenever they get asked, you know, like, how can I do this? Like, I think it was Stephen King, in his On Writing book, he kind of made the comment about, like, you know, sit down and write every day, 200 words. Like just write 200 words or 20 minutes. Like just write. Like, doesn't even have to be coherent necessarily or connected to what you wrote the day before, but just write. And eventually you'll get to the point where you're no longer either scared or you no longer have that writer's block, because you're just writing. You're just like literally just putting your thoughts on paper, and it just kind of builds that habit. And then that helps, you know, it's just like any other muscle. You know, it's that habitual building of a process. And so trying to get there. So that's my number one.
Nice. I kind of spoiled mine a little bit on Twitter the last couple of days because I started it. I am a big, somebody who's really big on not getting stagnant in your taste in music. Because I was a music teacher for 5 years. I love music. I love lots of different types of music. But there's a statistic out there that says basically once you hit 30, your taste in music is pretty much solid and you don't ever change or grow. And I'm sure a lot of you out there can relate to that. Just like, I like my stuff. I like my metal. I'm not going away from my metal. I don't care what you say. I don't want this Justin Bieber. I mean, I don't think anybody wants that Justin Bieber, to be honest. But expanding your taste in music is kind of something I always try to do. And so what I started doing at work is I pick a random Spotify playlist I've never listened to, and I listen to it for the first hour for work. I don't have to listen to it all day, just the first hour. And no matter if I like love it, hate it, whatever at the beginning, that I'm just going to push myself to listen to it, because it's amazing to be like, oh, I don't think I'm going to like Afrobeat necessarily, because I mean, African style music really rhythmic, and there's some things that I won't understand, like lyrics and stuff like that, because it might be in a different language. They got some really, really cool stuff. I listened to that one this morning. It's reminds me of jazz, but also a lot of Latin flavors, which music history-wise, a lot of your Latin style music and your African style music is what led to hip hop, because of the what's called polyrhythmic. They had polyrhythms, multiple rhythms going at the same time. But yeah, it's forcing myself to listen to things I wouldn't normally listen to gain appreciation of it, even if I'm not going to listen to it ever again. Just pushing myself out there a little bit more. But yeah, that's my number one. This actually turned out a little bit better than I thought it was going to, you guys. You guys seemed so against it last week.
Well, I mean, calling New Year's resolutions a slightly different thing, but
yeah,
goal setting is a completely different idea, realistically, at least in my mind, than what you would have with like resolutions. Like, I'm not gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna go and like, I'm gonna lose 80 pounds this year.
Oh yeah.
I will always say that the best thing to do, quite frankly, just comes down to looking at a habit and changing said habit. More than it is setting a goal for like what it is that your body may end up doing with, if you are worried about your body changing, or what kind of body changes you're trying to push through. That would be my suggestion to people, is to stop making general things like that. Like losing weight ones just almost never hold up. They don't.
They're difficult.
Yeah. But the whole evident idea for me with like setting goals or something like that, that's more just how you feel that your 2018 was impacted, or your year before was impacted, and how you feel it could have been either bettered or changed, or how your position is kind of altered, etc. That's why I think the idea of goal setting is a better idea than just saying, I'm gonna swear off junk food. No, you're not. No, you're not. You don't magically change overnight. You can certainly try, but no, you're not.
That KPI is going to fail, and you're not going to get the raise next year. So,
dang. Dang. Brutal. So brutal.
Well, and I mean, to be, yeah. Well, I mean, but I mean, to kind of make it, kind of bring it back into the seriousness. I think Beard, I agree completely. I think a lot of times people set these like lofty goals for themselves, and it's not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but don't set the bar too high, because just like with KPIs, OKRs, whatever you want to call them, at your workplace or your school or whatever you're currently located at in your life, the thing is with benchmarks is that they're not meant to be impossible to achieve. They're meant to be possible, but they want the process, and the hope is that by achieving them, you're going to have to stretch, and it's not going to necessarily be comfortable, but it is achievable. And I think, a lot of times people with New Year's resolutions get a bad rap because they do these like just crazy things. Like, and it's not that, I mean, you could theoretically, lose 100 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever. But to kind of start, like, you're going to burn yourself out if you start from square one thinking that you're going to run the entire. It's not like a sprint. It's a marathon. That's
right.
It's a year.
And that's the thing to keep in mind, is when you can have the big dreams. You can have the dream that you're going to lose 100 pounds, but you have to be realistic enough to set the small goals first. To be like, hey, I want to lose X amount of weight, but my first step into being able to do that is making sure I walk 20 minutes a day, more than I already do. And set that goal, say, hey, that I'm going to do that and go do that. making those small changes that way and making goals that will help you get to your ultimate end goal, that will help you more than just saying, I'm going to lose 100 pounds and then have no there. I'm all about making a plan. Anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar to that, because with my sales background and everything, it's so common for people to just say, here, I need you to increase your numbers. And you go, well, how do I do that? And if their response is, well, you just do it.
God, yeah.
Then at that point, that's terrible management. So
that's when you know that in the end you're gonna get put on a PIP plan.
That's when you know
PIP plans.
And when you know it's not your fault because you don't have good teachers.
Oh gosh,
that's the problem.
I just had this conversation with someone at work today about there's a lot of sales positions. What they'll do is they'll take your last whatever quarter, year, or whatever, and that's your benchmark that you have to surpass, which is, excuse me for a second, but is a model. Because ultimately what it is like, what happens is like, there's a lot of people who will have like this one lucky, breakthrough. They'll make a massive sale, and then the next year they're going to get fired because there's no way they're going to get that next thing. And that's definitely not a healthy, not just business wise, it's personally, you don't want to do that to yourself. You want to, keep it realistic, but
Totally.
Yeah, just be a better manager to yourself than what your boss is, possibly, and you'll probably live a better life, because quite frankly, there just aren't a lot of people that are trained well enough to know what they need to do anymore. That's what I'm starting to realize in a lot of places that either focus on sales or are number driven anymore. We're not teaching the skills to get there. We are so focused on the number. That means nothing if you do not have the talents nor the traits to get there, nor the tools. I always forget about the tools. Anyway, now that I've completely derailed the conversation, think about life.
Like we did the cookie one last week. It was straightforward. This one we've got like tips and tricks on how to make it work for you.
Tips and tricks is you're going to hear the cookie one probably a day before you hear this one, because Blue was really bad and schedules were really messed up. So I forgot to upload it. I apologize about that.
Oh, that's funny. That's okay, though. A little bit of sweet, then a lot of, I guess, fiber afterwards. I don't know. This analogy went off the rails. Speaking of podcast episodes. Wow, that is a terrible segue. Next week's topic. Let's go to that. Next week's topic, I want to do top 3 snack foods. Any snack food you like, whether it's sweet, salty, healthy, not healthy, your top 3 snack foods.
But Green, I'm swearing off junk food for years.
I said it could be healthy. You could have healthy foods for your snacks. I have one that's healthy.
Look, I was just being a smart. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Everybody should be used to this by now.
Anyway, thank you for joining us for top 3. I appreciate you guys more than you know. I appreciate everybody who sends in suggestions. I appreciate these guys for putting up with me, for letting me host my own essential mini podcast, even though Blue does all the work on first editing and everything. Thank you, Blue. Thank you for joining us again this week. I'll see you next week. And remember, everybody likes a list.